Show. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. And back from Baltimore, we're live in studio. We were live in Baltimore, but we're back in the studio. Thanks for stopping by today. And learned a lot, saw a lot, talked to a lot of people, and some of which I experienced at the trade show will make its way onto this show sooner or later in some form or fashion. And a lot of exciting things going on. We'll chat a little bit about that. And I hope you had a wonderful weekend and took care of yourself and didn't commit too many. I know people like, it's the weekend, and they say, well, now I'm going to reward myself for all those good things I did during the week, and they cheat. And as you know, I don't advocate that. I don't support that concept. I think it's not a good idea. Yesterday, I was at Starbucks, and I picked up the Sunday edition of the New York Times. And I wasn't so surprised to find it, but I was. And on the front page of the New York Times, the headline was, "How Big Business Got Brazil Hooked on Junk Food." And the article took up pages, several pages, to report the story. When I was finished reading it, I sat there for the longest time and wondered, how come nobody's in jail? If you had crack dealers doing what some of these food companies are doing, there would be an outrage. The world would just go berserk, and rightfully so. They're saying, you're killing people, you're destroying lives, young and old alike, and everybody in between. And what is astonishing to me, and there are others, but these two reporters that wrote the piece, and I'll give them attribution here in a minute, really speak truth to power in this article. And it's not that I haven't heard these arguments before or read similar kinds of accounts, but they gave an insight here in this article that really, almost leaves you speechless. I'm going to share it with you today, and I'll quote directly from the piece. I will interpret and paraphrase. And you can find it, of course, if you go to the New York Times website and type in New York Times website. You typed in Brazil, junk food, you'll find it. The article was written by Andrew Jacobs and Matt Richtel. The photographs are by William Daniels. We're going to show some of the photographs. And it's to say that what's going on is unconscionable is an understatement. We'll get into it. And you might say, well, this is Brazil. That's none of our business. No, it is our business. It is the business of the world. People cannot stand by and watch this happen. There is no reason for children to be weighing 200 pounds because somebody's delivering food to their house that's making them that way. You heard me right. They deliver the food to the house. Again, I'll get into the nuts and bolts of this story. It is astonishing. I didn't realize the extent, the depth and breadth of the effort to infiltrate third world countries, and under the guise of a humanitarian effort, feed the poorest of the poor, the poorest of the food. You can participate in the conversation. Here's how you can do it.
You could reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
And there's so much to say about it. Now, just to set it up for you, because it's hard to know where to begin. In the article, Nestle's is featured. Now, Nestle's is not the only company engaged in this kind of effort. What's happening here is that these food companies are moving into these third world countries and providing food to these people. And in this instance, it's being actually delivered to the house. The companies hire people in the country to deliver the food. And they give them all the time they need to pay for it. These are poor people. As I report on this story, we're streaming it globally. And you can watch that on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Let's Talk Nutrition Live. So it's available to watch as I report on it. And the reporters use a woman, and I believe we're showing her, who has been hired by Nestle to deliver food. Her name is Mrs. Da Silva. And she herself weighs more than 200 pounds. Okay? And Selena Da Silva, she's 29, is one of thousands of door-to-door vendors for Nestle, helping the world's, they said, largest, this is the reporters I'm quoting, helping the world's largest packaged food conglomerate expand its reach into 250,000 households in Brazil's farthest flung corners, close quote. Translation, these are poor people. They're not going into the high-end hotels, trust me. She's 29 years old. She drops off a variety of packs of Chandelle pudding, Kit Kats, Mucilon infant cereal, and the reporter said there was something striking about her customers. Many of them were overweight or obese, and many were small children. These children are being raised on these foods, and that's all they know, for the most part, in terms of their relationship with food. And there's a reason why they're there, and they're not the only ones now. Show me the money.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
According to corporate records, epidemiological studies, government reports, as well as interviews with scores of nutritionists and health experts around the world, the reporters in the New York Times, the article appeared on the front page yesterday, said, reveals a sea change in the way food is produced, distributed, and advertised across much of the globe, close quote. And what they zeroed in on was Brazil. And the headline on the story was how big business got Brazil hooked on junk food. That seems, think about this. It's in the New York Times on the Sunday edition on the front page. And it takes up pages to report. It's astonishing that they devoted this much time and focus and feature to this story. And what they're saying is that these giant food companies are moving into third world countries and providing people food that's making them obese and consequently unhealthy. And, when you go through the article, and you can get it, it's easy to find. They'll give you lots of statistics that I've reported on. The reporting is accurate, for sure. And they also point out, as I have many times, that nutritionists believe that the obesity epidemic is inextricably connected to the sales of packaged food, which grew 25% worldwide between 2011 and 2016. Think about that. Compared to 10% in the United States. What's happening is the sales are certainly robust in the United States, but they're more robust elsewhere, and so they follow the money, and that companies go to those places where it's more robust potentially. Places like Brazil and the impoverished areas, the outlying area where people are so poor. It's some of the. I saw this statistic and I had to stop for a second. And the reporters say that the reporting on the trends of the growth of these companies delivering, literally, oftentimes delivering fast food to people's homes, and the prominence of fast food worldwide. I'm quoting, "The same trends are mirrored with fast food, which grew 30% worldwide from 2011 to 2016, compared with 21% in the United States, according to Euromonitor. Take, for example," they said, "Domino's Pizza, which in 2016 added 1,281 stores. That was one store every 7 hours. In its annual report, all but 171 of them were overseas. They were building one every 7 hours. Continuing, they quote a Mark Schneider. He's chief executive of Nestle, and here's what he told the reporters. Quote, "At a time when some of the growth is more subdued in established economies, I think that strong emerging market posture is going to be a winning position." Close quote. For some companies, these reporters from the Times said, that can mean specifically focusing on young people. As Amit Bozer, president of Coca-Cola International, described to investors in 2014 when he said, quote, "Half the world's population has not had a Coke in the last 30 days. There are 600 million teenagers who have not had a Coke in the last week, so the opportunity for that is huge." Close quote. They have figured out how many people haven't had a Coke in the last 30 days or a week, and they see that as an opportunity. And it ain't in this country. That's how they think. Now you might say it's only a bottle of pop or soda. No, it's much more than that. Industry defenders say that processed foods are essential to feed a growing, urbanizing world of people, many of them with rising incomes demanding convenience, close quote, is said in the report. Mike Gibney, He's a professor emeritus of food and health at the University of College Dublin and a consultant to Nestle. Here's how he rationalizes this invasion. We're not going to get rid of all factories and go back to all grain. It's nonsense. It's not going to work. If I ask 100 Brazilian families to stop eating processed food, I have to ask myself, he said, what will they eat? Who will feed them? How much will it cost? Close quote. They see this distribution by the metric ton of junk food into that culture as a humanitarian effort. It doesn't bring me pleasure to talk about this. This is intense. This is wrong. It moves beyond greed. We'll be back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing, coast to coast and globally. My guest today is Dominique Ostrander, educated for Jarrow formulas. As a journalist, I felt, as I read this article yesterday from the New York Times on the front page, I said, I cannot not report on this story. My conscience dictated that I share it with you. It doesn't bring me any pleasure, none, zero, to report on it. And what I understand profit motive, I understand business. I get it. What I don't understand, what I don't accept, what I will never accept, and what nobody should accept is feeding people in a way that that contributes to the obesity epidemic and a type 2 diabetes epidemic and causes children, just kids, to weigh 200 pounds, 180 pounds, and all they know are junk food. And that's what many of these big, giant food conglomerates are doing in third world countries. There's greed, and then there's what this is. I don't know what even to call it. And they justify it by saying, well, it's a humanitarian effort because these people wouldn't have anything to eat.
Eating something that's going to put you in the hospital as opposed to
eating... It's going to put you in the grave. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Go ahead.
But you're right. I mean, it will.
It does.
And I was privy enough to look through the article before we talked about it, and I saw a lot of the photos themselves, and I'm looking at the photos themselves, and I've been to Costa Rica. I actually drove to Costa Rica from Illinois, and there is food there. I mean, and there is poverty there, but I don't think hospitalizing somebody to feed them is the answer.
No. And what they've done, these companies, and in this article, they pick on Nestle. Nestle's not the only one. Nestle has created a door-to-door delivery service, and they hire people like Mrs. Da Silva, who's featured in the article. And she reaches customers in a place called Fortaleza, and it's slums. And many of the people there don't have access to a supermarket. And here's what she says. Everyone here knows that Nestle products are good for you. And she points to cans of Mucilon, which is the infant cereal. It's packed with calcium and niacin. But also Nescau, which is 2.0, Nescau 2.0. It's a sugar-laden chocolate powder. She became a Nestle vendor 2 years ago when her family of 5 was struggling, it says in the article, to get by. Her husband was unemployed, and things were looking up. And they pay her $185 a month to deliver products to homes. And she said she's delighted to do the job because now she can buy a refrigerator. Poor soul. And a television. And a gas stove for the family. In their 3-room home at the edge of a tidal marsh. We're showing a picture. They live in abject poverty. $185 a month. And they give the people who buy the products a month or two to pay for it. In the article, the 2 reporters said Nestle increasingly portrays itself as a leader in its commitment to community and health. 2 decades ago, the reporter said, it anointed itself, quote, a nutrition, health, and wellness company. Over the years, the company, the reporters said, has reformulated nearly 9,000 products to reduce salt, sugar, and fat, and has delivered billions of servings fortified with vitamins and minerals. But they also discourage farmers from growing crops that would feed people, they report in the article. My guest is Dominique Ostrander, educated for Jarrow formulas. I saw Dominique and her husband at Expo East, and she was working the Jarrow booth, and it was always a pleasure to see her. Dominique, welcome back. I had a moment to chat with you and your wonderful husband. But it was a pleasure to see you again and talk with you face to face. How are you doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Yes, always a pleasure to see you. I got to meet Gary face to face.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
What? Yeah.
I like him. What do you make of this story I'm reporting on? I'm only scratching the surface. I'm only scratching.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You are only scratching the surface. So as I'm listening to this, so these are the thoughts that are coming to my mind. So creating so much more than obesity, we're creating food addiction among a population that really has no clue what food addiction is, and the sweet, salty food addiction. That's a very small point. We're also creating, I think, we're giving this perception that we're saving a huge part of the world by offering this, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think what we're doing is ultimately devastating cultures by allowing this food to be accessible, and what they're calling affordable, I don't know. And then at the same time, my mind thinks, well, if this is like the spokesman or this new salesperson for Nestle in Brazil doesn't have a refrigerator, then being able to feed her family with packaged food that doesn't require refrigeration, well, then is that a good thing?
No. My answer is no.
Well, versus not eating.
I don't believe that.
Sure
they're not going to starve to death. They're going to suffer, but they're suffering now.
You know, we all just went through Irma. I lost my refrigeration. You lost your refrigeration.
Yeah, I threw a ton of food away.
I was able to eat. I mean,
well, Gary, the truth be told, in these parts of the world, there is a scarcity. Dominique's right, and people will suffer, but they're suffering anyway with the food that they're being given and being sold to them. They're suffering anyway, and they're suffering even, I would say, in ways that are even more dramatic. You know, I don't know.
But it's really it's a quick. To me, it's just one of those things that seem like a quick fix. That ultimately, quick fixes never really pan out.
This was not done as a fix. This was a business decision, and the documents that these reporters have. I mean, these food companies are moving into third world countries to sell product, not to save humanity. And here's a question I have for you. You can pick it up on the other side. Where's the natural products industry in all this? Why are they so silent?
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
allergies from returning. Available at vitamin discount centers, Richards, Roll & Oats, Vitamin Shop, Nutrition Smart, and other fine health food stores.
The latest trend to hit the store shelves has the whole country buzzing. Cannabidiol, or CBD, might just be the greatest discovery of our generation, and it comes from a plant that is not so new, agricultural hemp. Yes, after 70 years of prohibition and misunderstanding, hemp is back to help you stay healthy and balanced. Growing research is showing that we have a lot to learn from the remarkable hemp plant. Nutrient-rich products like Plus CBD Oil's Total Plant Complex concentrated products provide broad-spectrum nutrition, including fatty acids, plant sterols, cannabinoids, terpenes, and naturally occurring vitamin E. From seed to shelf, all Plus CBD Oil products provide the highest quality hemp-derived CBD products available and are offered in a variety of delivery systems and flavors to suit your needs. Ask your local independent health food store about Plus CBD Oil products by CV Sciences today and learn more about the CBD evolution at pluscbdoil.com. That's pluscbdoil.com.
Feel tired, lethargic, or irritable? Take solace. You're one of millions of Americans that has trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. In fact, according to a national survey, 54% of adults have trouble sleeping. So what can you do about it? Take Solace. Solace is an all-natural dietary supplement formulated to support healthy sleep and relaxation. Solace can help you fall asleep and stay asleep naturally. Formulated with all-natural ingredients, Solace is non-addictive and won't leave you feeling groggy in the morning. Take Solace an hour before bed and feel the calming effects of this extensively researched sleep and relaxation aid. For more information on Solace, call toll-free 877-533-7066 or visit TakeSolace.com. That's 877-533-7066 or take SOLUS.com. Look for Solace in your local health and nutrition store. Solace, for a good night's rest naturally.
Feeling tired after your meal? Occasional gas, bloating, or indigestion at inopportune times? You may have an enzyme deficiency. Did you know that many common digestive discomforts can be caused by poor digestion? When food isn't completely digested, it begins to ferment in the digestive tract, which may cause uncomfortable symptoms. Digest Gold, America's #1 selling enzyme product, offers unparalleled support for your digestive needs. It contains exclusive blends of enzymes optimized to be 3 times stronger and work more than 6 times faster than other leading digestive supplements. With just 1 capsule per meal, Digest Gold offers support to break down carbohydrates, fats, fiber, and protein. Enzymedica products are all natural, vegetarian, contain absolutely no fillers, and are vegan and kosher when possible. You'll find Digest Gold and other Enzymedica products at fine health food stores near you. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Let's Talk Nutrition is brought to you by Jarrow Formulas, superior nutrition and formulation. Natural Factors, where great health begins. Kyolic, aging makes the finest garlic truly odorless. A. Vogel, Europe's leading brand of herbal medicine. Let's Talk Nutrition, on the web at letstalknutrition.com. We're back from the break, so let's rejoin Dr. Michael Garko.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. I know we're global. We're streaming. And I am sure people watching this stream in other countries, this resonates. It should resonate in the U.S. Because we do have an obesity epidemic, and it's inextricably linked to junk food, fast food, food high in salt, sugar, and fat that's highly processed and vacant of nutrition. Here's how to contact the show. You can comment on this, and I'd love to hear your take. You have to speak truth to power. You can't be afraid. Go ahead.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Globally, you can reach us at 813-636-8255 and follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition and Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition, one word, at Let's Talk Nutrition.
Dominique Ostrander is my guest educator for Jarrow Formulas. Dominique, welcome back. My question to you going into that last set of messages was, Where's the natural products industry in all of this? I don't hear any outrage from them. I don't see any effort on their part to get into these third world countries. And how about giving those people some other choices, food choices that they could do much better with? Am I delusional and so idealistic I've lost myself?
I wouldn't say that that's delusional, perhaps a bit idealistic. I don't know because I don't obviously work for the NPA, so I can only speculate. Maybe their position is financial, that there isn't a company that feels that they could compete with the vastness that Nestle, let's say, would be able to distribute and infiltrate.
It doesn't stop them from opening their mouth and talking.
That's true.
Where are they? Where's the outrage? This is the natural products industry. This is supposed to be the Joan of Arc of nutrition. Mm-hmm. How come they're not speaking out and saying this is morally wrong and corrupt? This woman Okay, let
me throw this out there, okay? So I work a show almost every year, and it's abbreviated FNCE, FNCE, and it's a national show of nutritionists and dietitians. Mm-hmm. And what seems to be, or you would think, years when the rise in obesity was growing, what seemed exponentially, it didn't seem that dietitians and nutritionists were that concerned with it. I don't, please, if you're a dietitian or nutritionist and you're listening to me, I'm not saying that there wasn't any concern. I'm saying that the concern among, let's say, nutritionists and dietitians was more of the convalescing, was more of, yeah, we work for food companies, because there's, at FNCE, it's a huge show, and the major food companies like Nestle, like Kraft, they all display there, and that's not really a topic.
Of course it won't be a topic, because if they spoke out, if there were papers being given calling these companies out, they wouldn't show up for the show. And they wouldn't have their booth there, and these people wouldn't make money.
Well, when you go to Nestle's website, it says Nestle, good food, good life.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah, I see that. So I don't know, Dominique. People in the natural products industry should be outraged by this kind of way of doing business. And I don't see the outrage. I'm a journalist. That's my job, to report, to comment, and to put a spotlight on these things. I mean, we don't do this show just to talk about, pass the time. This is a serious matter.
What do you think their response should be?
Their response should be they should call them out. These two journalists from the New York Times on the front page, if they would go and read that article, they would get a lot of ideas about what they should say. What they should be saying are things such as, how can you deliver that kind of food? This woman that works for Nestle makes $185 a month. Her daughter's 17 years old. She weighs 250 pounds, man. She has polycystic fibrosis. She has diabetes. She has high blood pressure from eating that food. There's all kinds of things that they can say. And the argument is, we're doing a humanitarian effort. That's a bunch of baloney. That's what they could say. That's not true. You're making money. Why don't you do it so you at least break even? How about if you lost money? Then I'd believe you.
Before the break, we were and I was saying that it was more of a quick fix. I didn't mean that it was without thought or without whatever ingenuity went into this on the behalf of Nestle, but that it was without thinking of long-term consequences.
No, I respectfully disagree.
They're not thinking of long-term consequences.
Yes, they
That's what I'm
are.
saying.
Yes, they are.
Oh, in terms of financial growth.
Exactly. When they sit in the and they sit in the meetings, they are smart people, and their scientists know what the consequences are, and they tell them, long term, this is what's going to happen. And we already have data from this goes back to the 70s. And they know what the consequence. This is like those executives that sat in front of the congressional committee, that Senate committee, and each one was asked, does smoking cause cancer? And all of them, you remember that footage? No, it doesn't. And they lied under oath. They knew the consequences. These companies know the consequences. That's what the natural products industry could be saying. They should hire me. I'll write the copy for them for free.
You know, in 2014, they addressed obesity epidemic in Brazil and Argentina, and it was a public health concern back in 2014.
Yeah, well, they're about 3 decades too late. I know. I'm really it's upsetting to me because children's lives are being ruined. These little kids weighing 200 pounds. All they know is Kit Kats and all these other products. There's something wrong. There's something morally wrong with that.
Right, and Nestle isn't thinking about the long-term consequences of health. They're thinking about money, but they're not thinking about health.
We'll be back, and we'll get to and I'll move from this topic because my blood pressure can't keep it that high for that long. And we'll move to what's on Dominique's mind, and she probably has a lot to report from the Natural Products Trade Show. Jarrow is an innovator, and they know a thing or two, and they'll share it. We'll be back. And welcome to the show. Great to be with you. Thanks for stopping by. You're tuned in to Let's Talk Nutrition. Get connected. And we'd love to hear from you, always. That's why we're here. And we give you a variety of ways to connect, coast to coast and globally. And your opinion and your ideas and what you're thinking and talking about and doing are important for us. Oftentimes, you may say something and share it with the listening and viewing audience that could change somebody's life. You never know. You never know who's listening, and you never know what effect you're having. Dominique Ostrander is my guest, educator for Jarrow Formulas. Fresh back from Baltimore at the Expo East Product Trade Show. And I always learn something when I go there, these trade shows, and come home. Eventually, it'll make its way onto the show. But here's how you can contact this show.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Or you could go to Let's Talk Nutrition on Instagram or at LTN Radio on Twitter. Don't forget, we have YouTube.
YouTube, Facebook, our page at LTN, letstalknutrition.com, and our app.
Yeah, have you been to the app lately?
Not lately.
I was on a plane and playing with the app.
Yeah.
And I was watching some of the older shows that are on the app. And because there's only 3 buttons: archive shows, savings, and then contact. And I obviously didn't want to email myself, so. But yeah, we were in the airport and I was going through the app and I was watching some of the older shows.
Mm-hmm. I refer to them as previously aired.
Archived.
Dominique, welcome back to the show. What did you learn at Expo East?
Well, Jarrow is coming out with new bone broth flavors.
Who?
So that's
coming out with what?
Jarrow. Jarrow is coming out with a new bone. We launched a bone broth. As you know, we have a beef and a chicken bone broth, and so we're coming out with a couple new flavors very shortly. And they were able to be. Of course, I don't eat meat, but my husband said they were delicious. We have a spicy beef ramen is one of the new flavors that's coming.
What's so special about bone broth?
Well, I think true bone broth is different than some of the other bone broths that are on the market. But true bone broth can improve joint function. It increases collagen. People that are looking for additional protein with lower sodium. So there's immune boosting benefits. There's tremendous gut protective benefits of bone broth.
We're showing, if you're watching the show, streaming it on one of the platforms, we're showing Beyond Bone Broth, and I'm looking at the facts panel, and I can see that it's very low in sugar, 7 grams of protein per serving, only 5 grams of carbs, low in fat. Yeah. How do people use this? Is it? I know that sounds like a silly question. Is it a meal? Is it when you just have a cold? How are they? What are you learning from consumers as to their use of it?
I think they're sipping it a couple times a day, once or twice a day, at least once a day, and they're mixing it with hot water usually because it does become an actual broth. And they enjoy it once a day, sometimes twice a day.
I'm sure it'd make a nice drink during the wintertime when it's a little cool, right? Nice and chilly.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Do you find that this is an interesting product because it's like soup in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
In a sense, it's more like when our grandmothers or our mothers used to take the bone, the carcass, and boil it down and make a legitimate bone broth. Bone broth is not meant to be a protein supplement, and that's what a lot of consumers are getting mixed messages about. It's not meant for that. and there are other companies that are touting their bone broth as a protein. So if you want additional protein, take a protein supplement. Bone broth shouldn't be your protein supplement.
Are people using it in their culinary, how can I put it, activities? In other words, cooking. Mm-hmm. Are they using the bone broth to make other things?
I don't know. They've asked. I get that question all the time. Can I use this as a base?
Yes.
You can certainly experiment. It wouldn't hurt you. It definitely wouldn't hurt you. But I don't know exactly what they're doing with it. But that question is very common.
And right now, how many bone broth products do you have?
Right now we have 2. So right now we have chicken and beef. And then the newest one that's coming very soon is our spicy beef ramen.
I suspect it's being used by people who are trying to lose weight. And using
it definitely could.
Using it as a meal replacement. Could you make the bone broth and add some whole grain noodles to it?
You could. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You could add rice. You could add noodles. You can do whatever you feel that you want to do, actually, and then just let us know really how it comes out. If you come up with a great recipe, send it in to us. That would be great.
Oh, I can give you a recipe right now. You take the bone. You take the bone broth, and you take some whole grain pasta of one sort or another, not whole wheat, whole grain, or whole grain rice. I would probably add some oregano. I would take some raw garlic and add it, and a few other spices, and use it as a meal that way. Where I increase the protein intake, I add fiber to it, I add spices.
Would you cook the pasta separate, or would you cook it in the bone broth? Like, would you make a batch of bone, like a large batch of bone broth?
You could do both. And another thing I would do is I would take some mushrooms, and I would first saute them in vegetable broth and add my spices, portobellos or whatever, and then I would add it to the bone broth. You could do that as well. There's all kinds of things you could do with that bone, and I would use it as a base. I would use it as a form of food to make other food with it. The word soup keeps coming to mind. I would treat it like I would treat soup. Now, I don't know. That's an animal product. I'm trying to move away from animal-based foods, but I eat vegetable broth. I cook with vegetable broth a lot. So I'm giving Gary ideas as to, you see how you could use that?
Yeah.
It wouldn't take long to make either. And she's right. You could add the noodles right to the bone broth and let it cook slowly and let them cook in the bone broth instead of separately. You could saute some vegetables, or you can put the vegetables right in the bone broth and make some vegetable bone broth soup. How about that?
There's a lot of options for sure.
Why did Jarrow make that product?
That's a good question. I think we made it, number one, because we believe in the benefits of bone broth, for sure. We believe in the benefits, the amino acids, the collagen, the chondroitin, type 1, type 2 collagens, the activated silicon. We have our Jarrow as part of our bone broth. Altogether, it's a comprehensive formula. And Jarrow is known for its tremendous proprietary blends. So
it's interesting. I offered some cooking suggestions with the product. The product wasn't necessarily, it's not marketed that way either. It's presented just like you said, to help with the collagen matrix, et cetera, et cetera. You can have both. LTN coast to coast.
If you've ever had digestive issues slow you down, it's time to live digestively with the number
Driving producers crazy here. My guest is Dominique Ostrander. She's educated for Jarrow Formulas. Dominique, I saw you at Expo West, Expo East, and she just dropped off. Okay, all right, good enough. She'll be back. Live radio. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. If you just tuned in, and what's interesting about dietary supplementation, it's taken. I mean, when you go to one of these trade shows, you really get to see the meaning of supplementation changes. You have, for example, Jarrow Formulas makes bone broth. Now, when you look at, I asked her, why did Jarrow make it? And they made that product because it helps with the collagen matrix, which would give you better health for your connective tissue, hair, skin, and nails, tendons, ligaments, and so on. And then I started thinking, well, what if you used it in a more creative way for cooking? Why not? It's broth, bone broth, and adding things to it. So when you go to the trade shows, the natural products trade shows, that's what you'll have a whole section devoted just to food. All kinds of different foods, natural product foods that you will see in Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, health stores, mom and pop stores throughout the U.S. that sell food that you won't find in traditional grocery stores. And it is about the food. So natural products implicates all, and cosmetics as well. All kinds of natural products. It's thousands and thousands of products of one kind or another. I took Gary came with me to Baltimore. It was his first trade show, natural products trade show. In March, he'll go to Expo West in Anaheim, and he'll really get an eyeful there. So you have to sort of, that's why I talk about it, to try to expand the listener and the viewer's understanding of what we mean by supplementation. Natural products, right? So I went there and spoke with a number of people that probably, some of whom will make their way onto this show. We're always looking for innovation, innovative ideas with legitimate ideas with credible companies. Don't want any fly-by-night, slipshod, whiz-bang. We're not interested. Dominique, you back? Not yet.
I am here. My phone. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know what is happening. I think it might be the internet connection.
Okay. And I was just sharing with the listener and the viewer that supplementation is not just about vitamins and minerals. We're talking dietary supplement products are, bone broth. Do you consider that a dietary supplement?
It is. It's considered a dietary supplement.
Mm-hmm. And I was talking about using it in cooking. Right? Mm-hmm. You see my point? Mm-hmm. You see my point that you have to. What I'm trying to do is expand the idea for the audience what dietary supplementation may mean. It's not just pills.
Well, the same goes for protein, right? So protein is considered a dietary supplement, mm-hmm. but it oftentimes is a meal replacement.
It's a meal replacement. So. Mm-hmm. And in Jarrow's, you have other kinds of food, sort of like food. Like, remember, do you still make that pomegranate?
We do.
And you had blueberries, Right.
We had it in different flavors, but now we only have the original pomegranate concentrate. And
how do people, I use that all the time. I was using it in different ways. Mm-hmm. That's a fabulous product.
It is.
That's
It is excellent antioxidant protection, excellent for people that are suffering from diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all in support of cardiometabolic disorders, high blood pressure, even eye fatigue, believe it or not, because it increases circulation inside the eye.
And so those kind of products fall within the category of supplements. And it's interesting. A lot of people have just a narrow view. They think it's, pills in a bottle. It's much, much more than that. Right? So
It is, well, oh gosh, it goes far beyond that. And I think, when you really think about it, food is, it's nutrition, supplementation. Nobody's diet is perfect, and so we have to do our best to try and supplement in ways where our diets are lacking. It will never take the place of a well-balanced, well-rounded eating plan.
Right. I mean, they're not intended, these products are not intended to replace food. But when you don't like to eat vegetables, for example, how are you going to get those phytochemicals into your body? They're not floating around in the ether.
Exactly.
So you take a nice greens product like Jarrow's, right?
Right. We actually, that's another thing we're coming out with. Thank you for reminding me.
It's my pleasure. See, you think I don't know about these things. You think I just say idle things. I know. Go ahead.
We're coming out, we've had our Green Defense, which is our greens product, for a very long time.
Save your thought. We're headed in some messages, so we have some breaking news. A new greens product coming from Jarrow. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition Coast to Coast globally, where we, try to educate and empower.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. Dominique Ostrander is my guest today from Jarrow Formulas. A little bit of breaking news. They are coming out with a new greens product. This is, find out what this is about. Dominique, welcome back. So a little bit about the product.
So our original Green Defense, which is considered a functional greens powder, it's high in resveratrol and probiotic metabolites. It's 2,100 ORAC value, and it's vegetarian. So our new green product or greens products, we're going to have one specifically for immunity, one for detox. Don't quote me. I want to say there's one for digestion. I think there's like 3 or 4 new greens products coming out. And so I'm very excited about that because our greens are actually delicious. They're kind of on the sweeter side.
Yeah.
So if you like greens, then this is definitely the product for you. So we have polyphenols from green tea, grapeseed, and citrus. The fibers are coming from apple, rice bran, gum acacia, and the fructooligosaccharides, FOS.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is all part of enhancing detoxification. I think it's going to be a really, it's going to be a good player among the other greens because the greens field is sort of saturated, but the taste is the issue, right? A lot of people want to take greens, but they don't like the taste.
Yeah, some of
I laugh.
Gary, what he did with one product, we won't mention the name. He added, what was that drink you added to it?
Bloody Mary mix.
He added Bloody Mary mix to the greens product so he could take the product.
Yeah, so that probably defeated that, Gary. But but
there wasn't alcohol in it. I just used like the flavoring
right.
because
right. So just a trick: lemonade or anything lemon sometimes will help greens be more palatable.
People forget that these foods are constituted of chemicals, and many some the chemicals in plants oftentimes smell odd, taste odd, because they were used as a defense. I know the product from Jarrow says Green Defense. Well, it was a defense for the plant in the first place to defend against the environment, bugs of one sort or another, animals from being eaten or destroyed. These chemicals that thus have, what did you tell me, Gary, that they grow certain crops with other crops to ward off the animals?
Yes. And that's sometimes that's what it feels like when you're eating the green.
Give an example. Like onions, you were saying that they grow.
They grow here in Plant City, they grow strawberries. And then the first 2 rows, they plant all the way around onions, the big stinky Vidalia onions.
There you go. Because it gives off that aroma and it wards off the critters, of one sort or another. So these chemicals do have, like with cruciferous vegetables, oftentimes very, Brussels sprouts.
Oh my gosh, broccoli smells. That's the perpetual smell in my house because I eat broccoli every single day of my life. So yes, the sulforaphanes stink.
You have a, by the way, you have a pretty good product, a cruciferous based product, don't you?
We do. We have our Brocomax.
Brocomax.
Exactly.
What is that product about?
So our Brocomax is one of the highest, it is actually, to my knowledge, it's the highest sulforaphane content on the on the market. It's a standardized broccoli extract, 30 milligrams of sulforaphane glucosinolate per serving, and it supports healthy cell replication. So if you are absolutely against taking or eating broccoli, or vegetables, let's say, then you can at least supplement with something like Brocomax to get the antioxidant properties of the food in a supplement form. Again, not saying that it's the ideal replication, but actually Brocomax does exceed what plain broccoli can do because it's so standardized, concentrated. We also have the addition of the myrosinase, which increases the uptake.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to St. Petersburg, Florida. Joe, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
How you doing, Doc?
Good, great.
I'm happy we all survived the storm. That was a blessing.
Yes. Thank you.
Hey, listen, on my vegetable garden, what I do, because we know what the basil and the parsley and the rosemary and the thyme and all that, I spray a lot of garlic. I take my garlic, raw garlic, I crush it up real good, get it liquefied, I put it in my spray bottle, and I saturate my plants, even my tomato plants, with the garlic. But my Italian hot peppers, they survive. No bugs touch those babies at all.
Yeah, because the bugs know that those things, that those chemicals are painful when consumed.
Those chemicals are Italian.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the wonders. The plant world is so intriguing. How they protect themselves and all these different chemicals. And Dominique is right. Getting these greens products to be consumable is very challenging without altering the chemical profile of the plant in the first place. Right, Dominique?
Absolutely. And that's part of the issue when we launch products is what's the point of launching a product that nobody, even though it has tremendous benefits, but if you can't have any level of compliance because the taste is so gruesome, then what's the point?
Exactly. Joe, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, Doc. Thank you so much. And I've survived, and which I live on the beach.
Oh.
Madeira Beach, and I survived.
Well,
thank God.
I'm glad you did. And it was nice to hear your voice, and we'll brace ourselves for the next episode.
Doc, talk to you later. Thank you.
Take care. This is interesting. I guess we do forget that what we're talking about with foods and dietary supplements, indeed, it's about chemistry, and the food tastes good, smells good, feels good in your mouth. But at the end of the day, I'm sure Jarrow Formula knows a few chemists or two, right?
Just a few.
Just a few. Wouldn't be surprised if you have some on staff in formulation to formulate these products. Isn't that true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, when will these new greens products be out?
Hopefully within the next 6 weeks.
Okay, you'll let us know, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Maybe we should. I'll talk to you about that off air. We come back, we'll have the LTN health question of the day. We'll have a $25 gift card with the right answer, as we always do. And you are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LTN health question of the day. Earlier in the show, I was talking about these food companies, these big conglomerate food companies that are making their way into third world countries or third world economies, and maybe some not so third world, and getting their products into these markets and hiring people to deliver their food door to door in some of the more economically depressed areas where people need food. And just what I said it thus far, that sounds like what? A great humanitarian effort. Well, maybe not so much. Read the New York Times edition yesterday, Sunday edition, front page. And the headline was, and I won't give the name of the country away, but how big business got blank hooked on junk food. Fill in the blank. Was it A, Argentina, B, Brazil, or C, Colombia? If you have the right answer, you win a $25 supplement gift card. This is, to say it's big business is an understatement. And they're pushing, it would be one thing if they were getting food to people that wasn't creating an obesity and a type 2 epidemic. So what's the name of the country where that's featured in this New York Times article? Is it Argentina, Brazil, or Colombia, where big business got that country hooked on junk food? Call this number, win the prize.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Dominique, welcome back. Are there any Jarrow products that you use in an unusual way or unique way? In other words, you adapted the product. Are there any like that?
Not that I can think of.
Like like the pomegranate, the bone broth. Did you find some creative way to use these products?
Actually, come to think of it, a long time ago, when we first launched our pomegranate, I used to mix it in plain Greek yogurt because I was trying to incorporate Greek yogurt into my diet for additional protein.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put our original pomegranate concentrate in plain Greek yogurt, and it was delicious.
I know, and you can still do that, and you can put it on. If you're tempted to eat ice cream,
people make salad dressing with it.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I have one account that uses it to make salad dressing.
Do you know how? Do you know the formula? Do you know the recipe?
I don't. I know she's using olive oil, pomegranate. I want to say she puts a little bit of balsamic in there with the pomegranate.
Boy, that's an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a sweet sour taste with the balsamic and the pomegranate.
Kind of
yeah, that pomegranate concentrate sold in fine health stores throughout the United States. I used to use that a lot. Now that you brought it up, I should get back to using it. I used it in a lot of different things, but.
Mm-hmm.
The bone broth product.
Coconut oil to pop popcorn. That's very popular.
Oh, people, use coconut oil. You have coconut oil products. You have two different types.
We do. So we have coconut oil, like your typical coconut oil as far as flavor goes. So it will have the coconut flavor, but then we also have a coconut oil product that doesn't have the flavor. So some people want the benefits of coconut oil without the taste. So we offer both.
Right. So they saute with it, and they don't want their pasta to taste like coconut oil.
Exactly. Or they use it on coconut oil has so many uses topically, internally. So people that don't want the smell, they can use the one that we have without the smell.
What are they doing topically with that?
They're using it for their hair. They're using it for their skin.
Really?
So,
What's it do for the hair?
Moisturizes it.
I'll be darned.
Use it as conditioner.
I'll be darned.
There are people that use coconut oil in the prevention of dry scalp and when they get flaky scalps, believe it or not. So they rub it into their scalp really well.
So they're putting coconut oil on their coconut. Let's go to Tampa, Florida.
Exactly.
Let's go to Tampa, Florida. Roberto, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on, Robert.
Thank you, Doc.
So, what country has been invaded by the one article in the New York Times? They picked on Nestle, but they're not the only culprit here. Which country was featured in that New York Times article? Was it Argentina, Brazil, or Colombia? Brazil. You got to speak truth to power. And, I'm not saying that Nestle is a terrible company. They do a lot of good, and there's no doubt about it, and they make wonderful products. But this program of getting these junk foods into the kitchens and into the bodies of these people that can't afford really healthy food, that's a questionable program. I don't know. The media is calling them out, but I don't know if it's going to...
Terrible.
What did you say, Robert? It's what?
It's terrible that they're doing something like that.
Yeah.
Because the ones that pay are the kids.
The kids.
Yeah.
That one lady that sells food for them door to door, her daughter's 17. She weighs 250 pounds.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, my God.
200. She's 17 years old. Type 2 diabetes, obese, high blood pressure, polycystic fibrosis, whatever. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Not right. It's just not right. They ought to...
It isn't.
I understand making money. I get it. Being profitable, doing business. But not at the expense of people's health and lives. That's just not right. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for participating. Congratulations. You won a $25 supplement gift card to Vitamin Discount Center. We'll catch you the next time, Roberto.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, Doc.
You do the same. Ms. Ostrander, thank you so much for being on, sharing your insight into Jarrow formulas. We're going to look for those new greens products, the new bone broth products, and you'll keep us updated, yes?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Where are you headed? To the beach?
Yeah, exactly.
Hardly, right? All right. Please give my best to Jarrow and everybody there and your family. Jarrow formulas, coast to coast.